Welcome to another episode of Live with Laura. I'm your host, Laura Hediger. When I started this venture of this podcast, I turned to so many of you and I said, hey, who are some guests that you would like to learn from and hear from? And I had so many of you say, you have, not you need, you have to get in contact with the people behind Brendan's Friday Backpacks. At the time when all of this was coming through, I had not heard about this nonprofit in Jefferson County. But over the last 2 months, I have found out so much about it, and you're about to find out a lot about it because we have Brendan himself, Brendan Tamboli, who is the founder, the creator of Brendan's Friday Backpacks, and his mom, Vicki. It is so good to see both of you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you because, as I mentioned, I had so many people say, if you are going to have a podcast in St. Louis about St. Louisans doing big things, we needed to talk to you. So, Brendan, please tell me the idea behind Brendan's Friday Backpacks.
Thank you very much. So this is in 2011, I think in the summer. We were vacationing in the Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, North Carolina area, and we were on our way home from that vacation, and we heard a radio show or a radio podcast or something on the radio saying, bring stuff for this other backpack program, bring stuff for other backpack programs. So we called around and it was like, oh, school supplies. Well, our church at the time was doing the same thing. It was like, no, this is something about food. And then we finally came up with the University of Kentucky. And then we started asking schools around. At the same time, coincidence, my mother was lurking in the lunchroom where I went to school. And she would notice that other kids would get, extra ketchup packets, more extra stuff. And so we called, again, like I said, we called around. We started out with Windsor School District, Chrissy Emkin, who's a social worker there. I don't know if she's still there or not. But we called her, and she was willing to take us on. And we started with 4 kids in that school district. And then, as they say, the rest is pretty much history. And now we feed over 1,800 kids in 60 different schools throughout all of Jefferson County.
This is amazing. 4 kids to now 1,700 to 1,800 every week.
Yes.
You mentioned coincidence, and I think of all the coincidences that had to have happened and lined up perfectly. Just the fact that you had this random radio station on as you're driving home from this vacation. You could have easily had it on any other radio station. You could have easily just heard the ad go through and been like, oh, that sounds cool, whatever, back to what I'm doing. But the fact that you really dialed in, do you ever look back to 2011 and just think, I'm so glad God put me in that place in my car with that radio station on?
Yes, 1,000 times.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So now in 2026, and we'll be going through the evolution of Brendan's Friday Backpacks a lot during this conversation. Now in 2026, how exactly does it work? What's a typical week look like in the lead up to the distribution of the backpacks?
So we pack the bags on Tuesdays, it's Mondays depending on holidays, but most of the time it's Tuesday. And those bags are packed in, say a school gives us a number, say Fox Elementary wants 35 bags, for example. And then we'll pack the bags. Nobody knows who these kids are, and it's completely anonymous. And that's just to prevent embarrassment because, unfortunately, it's 2026 and, yeah. So we'll pack. So we pack those bags. Then they'll be distributed throughout all of Jefferson, throughout those kids in that school district, and all of Jefferson County schools do that. We get in touch with the counselors, the social workers there, and sometimes the secretary, whoever runs that program, runs their program. It's usually kids that are on like free and reduced lunch programs, all that sort of thing, and that's pretty much how it goes. We have other drivers that will take the bags to the such and such school, and obviously the school will make sure that these kids go home with these meals because otherwise they have nothing.
And I think that is so important to point out because food insecurity is a very, very real
Yes, it
thing.
is.
And for a lot of kiddos, they are able to have breakfast and lunch at school, which is amazing. But then when they leave on Fridays, they could have a whole weekend where they open up a cabinet and there's just not much in there.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing there.
So, what type of food are you packing in these backpacks?
It's mostly not shelf-stable, non-perishable food items. Our biggest need at this particular moment is breakfast and snack foods. That's really our biggest need right now. It's pretty much, shelf-stable. Think kid-friendly, non-perishable, like a little bag of Lay's potato chips, granola bars. Pop-Tarts is a huge need right now.
But these kids do get meals. I mean, we pack like soup, pastas. They get enough for the whole weekend. And then if they have like a spring break, Christmas, Thanksgiving, we make sure that they get a jar of peanut butter. So that way that they're not going for weeks. And these kids don't look forward to spring break, school snow days, or just a day off. They don't look forward to that. They look forward to going to school and getting their food, or at least their breakfast and lunch.
And it's everything because if you have a little kid sitting there in class who's hungry, of course that child is not going to be able to focus on anything. My little 3-year-old woke up today, and I was telling you off camera, told me he wanted me to make his cereal. He didn't have the words to tell me he was hungry, but he knew that his tummy hurt.
Right.
And I just think about that there are so many kids here in our area who are going through that, and what a blessing this has now been for 15 years. But it started off not just from that trip to the Smoky Mountains. It started off because you were a Boy Scout, and not just a Boy Scout. You took it as far as you
All
could
the way.
go to an Eagle Scout.
Yes.
So please tell us about what it is to be an Eagle Scout and how important it is to come up with an Eagle Scout project.
Thank you. Yes, that's an amazing thing. So yeah, I think it's important for scouting because the Eagle Scout project is, it's leadership, and I didn't want to build a park bench because number one, I'm not handy. I'm not good with a hammer. I'm not those guys on HGTV or whatever they do on those channels. So I wanted something that was more impactful. I was like, what do I do that's not going to build something, but that's also going to provide, a leadership thing, because, that's what the whole point of being an Eagle Scout is. You're that role model, that leader that people look up to, and obviously, and we that radio station and then the cafeteria thing, it all just fell into place. And so I was like, this is a perfect idea.
It is. And Vicki, as a mom, I'm guessing Brendan was about 16, 17 years old at the time.
I think so.
Yes.
That is a big ask of you, too. As you mentioned, you could have built a park bench. There are other types of projects that probably would have been way less time consuming. As you're with Brendan and he is perfecting this idea, what are some of the emotions you remember at the time, and what was the turning point where you're like, I'm going all in on this with you?
I think we just went all in. Like Brendan said, we knew the social worker. We had a contact through church. We used to give food to families through church, through her. So we had that contact, and she didn't ask permission. She was just like, yeah, here's 4 kids. Go for it, and it was like, okay. And then I think basically maybe she got in trouble a little later for not asking permission. And then once I would be calling the schools while he was at school, somebody, had to sell it. We couldn't just stay with 4 kids. I knew teacher friends, and I was like, hey, do you think this is something we need in Festus? Because personally, I don't see Festus as a town that's like, no offense to any other town, but I don't see it as like a West Virginia town. I don't see it as like a little city in Kentucky, a poor Kentucky city or whatever. I don't see Festus as that. I see Festus as up and thriving, and our schools are up and thriving, and It's one of the sought-out schools. If you're buying a house, you want to buy a house in Festus. And they were like, I think there's a need here. So I was like, okay. So, I mean, it was like me calling, because of course Brendan's at school. So me calling other schools going, hey, I'm going to bring you free food. You don't have to do anything except for pass it out. And you would not believe the number of no's that I got.
Really?
Yes, it was like, no, 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 no. And I didn't take no for an answer. I guess God just smacked me on the back of my head and wouldn't let me take no for an answer. I don't know. And I had to go to a superintendent's meeting. And there was one lady, and I can't remember her name. She was a superintendent. And everybody kept saying, just remember, they put their pants on one leg at a time,
Yes.
just like you do. Because, of course, you're nervous, you know. It's like, oh, my gosh, you know. And the lady, the guy, you know, I had this whole thing written out. You know, I'm just a mom. I'm nobody special. I don't have a factory. And they're like, but you're asking, you know, all these Jefferson County schools. And it's like, well, yes. If one needs it, they all need it. And they were like, I don't know, you know. And she was like, I think we need to take a chance on her. She's no longer a superintendent, but, you know, I don't know what she's doing or where she went. But, you know, if it was not for her and me being so persistent, I'm not sure that this program would have taken off, because I've had a lot of no's. I've had a lot of people tell me this would not work. You cannot keep this going. And at times we've thought, can we not keep this going? And my husband is like a pastor, I guess. He's not, but he's like, God will get you there. God's not going to let you succeed. He's not going to let you fall. He's brought you this far. He's not going to let you fall. And he's right, as much as I hate to admit that.
But this story is so amazing because it is about faith. It is about family, of course. It's about food. And it's also about believing in your community to rise up and help each other. We are up against a break. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to find out so much more about Vicki and Brendan, the people behind Brendan's Friday Backpacks in Jefferson County that make such a huge impact on kiddos each and every week. And we are going to find out how you can help them continue to make that impact. We'll be right back with more Live with Laura. Welcome back to Live with Laura. I am joined by Brendan and Vicki, the people behind Brendan's Friday Backpacks. It is a nonprofit that has been going for 15 years, which is incredible right there. And you guys are doing amazing things in Jefferson County. I want to go through some of the numbers. You help feed up to about 1,800 students a week.
Correct.
In 60 schools?
Correct.
I didn't even realize Jefferson County had that many schools.
They do.
So as we're talking about these numbers, I would have to imagine to make this impact, you need a lot of people to help you. How many volunteers work with your nonprofit?
About, what do you say, an 8, 10? It takes a village.
I would say drivers. Even Brendan and I and my husband even drop off bags at schools. So I would say we probably have 12 drivers. And then we have probably 6 to 8 people pack with us every week.
So 20 in total, it sounds like.
Probably, yes.
That's not a lot of people to be feeding that many students. That's a feat in itself. If you would, please walk us through and describe what a typical school week looks like. On Monday, do you get numbers from schools?
We try.
Okay.
We've sent out letters and we've said, all the numbers have to be in between Fridays and Mondays. And it also kind of goes over in case there's like a new counselor or somebody new at the school that's just taken over and is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how do I determine which kid gets this? How do I determine which student needs this? So we sent out a letter that kind of explains what they should do, just because we don't want kids that need it not to get it, or kids that don't need it to get it.
Right.
So it kind of explains exactly what we need. And they're supposed to give us our numbers by Monday if they want the bag this week. Some of them don't exactly do that, and then they have to wait till the next week to get it.
So that's Monday. What does Tuesday look like?
Tuesday is our packing day. So that's the day that all the bags are packed, except for if it's somebody that's really, really nice, then maybe if they email me on Wednesday and I can still get somebody to go there, they might get the extra bag that they emailed. Normally they don't, but sometimes they do.
So with the packing, is that happening out of your house?
No,
Do you
we have a facility. We have a building. Thankfully, we've moved up in the world, and we've moved from a storage unit to a very, very nice facility that used to be a doctor's office. So we converted it, and it's a wonderful place, and it has like where they had rooms. It has a place where we have rooms to, for different things like peanut butter and ramen and snacks, and they're in different rooms, and some people work in that room and some people work in other rooms. As I said, we have a lady with her mom that come, Ashley's, I won't say her last name because her husband's a police officer, but Ashley and her mom, Cindy, come many, many days before Tuesday and get everything ready for us to pack. So everything is pretty much ready to go when we get there on Tuesday mornings. And then sometimes we have people that donate stuff, and they come on Tuesday mornings and drop stuff off, the food items for us.
What are you putting in the bags?
They get breakfast for the weekend, for Saturday, Sunday. They get 2 breakfasts for each day. They get 2 meals for breakfast or for lunch, 2 meals for dinner. Is that right? Saturday and Sunday. And then they get snacks, because who doesn't want a snack? I want snacks. So how can you say no to snacks? So,
And what are some of the most popular items?
oh my gosh, the snacks probably are the most popular, and the most needed is probably breakfast bars and snacks. Anything that your child comes home and says, hey, I'm hungry, I'm going to go to the cabinet and grab a Little Debbie. These kids don't have Little Debbies at home. These kids don't have anything like that at home. And if I'm correct, EBT, if they're on EBT, is that food stamps, they can no longer even get those. If I'm understanding correctly, which I could totally be wrong because I don't watch the news. I have military kids, so I don't watch the news. But from my understanding, they do not get that anymore. That has been cut from the budget. So that's, like I said, I still want snacks. I still want Little Debbie. I still buy Little Debbies for myself. So, anything, Rice Krispie treats, peanut butter crackers, cheese crackers, anything that you can think of. As Brendan said, Lay's potato chips, just single bags that come in like a box. Just anything like that. Breakfast bars.
So Tuesday is packing day. What does Wednesday look like?
Wednesday is usually a delivery day for most people.
Okay.
Some days are Tuesdays for some people. Everything is delivered to the school by Thursday.
Okay. To 60 different schools
60
Yes.
different schools.
between 12 drivers.
Yes, but they take a lot of. We have a group of children, or grown adults, maybe mid-adults, that come, and they have 3 vans, and they come. And they take multiple schools, because one school that we have has 120 bags. So that's a lot of bags,
Yes,
and that's
it
a
is.
lot of. We pack them in totes. We have those black and gold totes that we pack them in.
I like that they're black and gold because you are a Festus
Tiger.
alum, Tiger.
Yes.
You were telling me their colors are black and gold.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a nod to your alma mater?
Not really.
But it works.
It
It
works.
works.
Yes.
They're just very heavy. Everybody uses the black and
Yes.
gold totes for everything.
Yes.
It's just sturdy and.
Easy to handle, especially for the kiddos, taking them home and then back again. So Wednesday is delivery day, sometimes Thursdays too. By Friday, can you kind of breathe a sigh of relief, like we pulled it off another week.
Until somebody calls and says, hey, my school gets 70 bags. I only have 60. So then you're running to the grocery store with your own money and you're going, okay, let me go find 12 bags or 10 bags or whatever. And unfortunately, that happens multiple times. That is not just a one-time occasion, and I'll be at Dollar Tree, or I guess it's no longer a dollar, but, and packing bags and taking it to the school.
And especially this type of nonprofit, you're never done. The work is never going to be done.
No.
There are some that all year they ramp up for a big event. Maybe it's a back to school event. For you guys, It is a grind every single day. Where do you find the inspiration and motivation to keep it up?
Probably the kids, just knowing that the kids are eating. Somebody was like, you're an inspiration to so many kids, or Brendan's an inspiration to so many kids. Obviously, I didn't start it. I just called the superintendents or the secretaries, to see if I could bring it.
And Brendan, as an Eagle Scout, you are such a leader.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. My gosh, what does it mean to you knowing that there are kids who have full bellies?
It means the world to me because I grew up fortunate and I was able to go to the fridge. These kids were not and are still not able to go to the fridge, and we're kind of that lifeline for them, because as if it weren't for programs like ours, they probably wouldn't graduate. They'd be held back a grade. Some of them would even drop out, or who knows. So I think this program is a lifeline for these kids in our area to, get that need to get the motivation. I can take the test today or graduate in May or pass the 8th grade, 9th grade, whatever grade they're in. And they don't have to worry about that food insecurity when they go home over the weekend.
It is such a good point because, of course, you're serving kids in the now, in the present, but it does have such an impact on their future and down the road. And I am just so inspired by both of you that you keep this going, because it could have easily been, well, this is his Eagle Scout project and we fulfilled that mission and checked the box. Okay, let's move on to something else. But no, you continue to keep your roots in your hometown of Festus, branching out in all of Jefferson County. It's just so fantastic. I have to turn to you, Vicki, as a mom who has raised this incredible young man. You've raised 2 other boys that are currently serving our country. Thank you for their service. You did a lot right, my friend. What advice do you have for parents to raise leaders like this?
I don't have any advice. I don't think I did anything. I think that they were raised in church and they were raised in scouts, and I think that military is just something that they've always wanted. They knew from being little that they wanted to be in the military. I sometimes wish that they weren't in the military. My youngest just got back from a tour, for a year tour, deployed in Qatar. And if that's not the scariest thing as a parent, I couldn't tell you anything else that would be more scary. When my Air Force child gets deployed, he gets deployed to Africa. There's no fighting in Africa. You're not thinking about him getting killed in Africa. When he was in Qatar, it was the scary moments where they were still fighting, and there was missiles, and there was you wear your safety gear, you wear your whatever you wear. I don't even know what all you wear, but you wear that even if you go to the bathroom. You can't get mail. Even now, and if you have a child that's deployed in the Middle East, they cannot get mail. And we had that at that point, too. We had a point where he couldn't get mail.
The perspective that you have in so many different facets of your life, pulling back the curtain on what it's like for a military family, especially an active one who is in a combat zone. And then the perspective that you have through this nonprofit of seeing the very real food insecurity that so many families are dealing with. It is amazing because so many of us, as we go through our daily lives, forget how differently so many other people are living.
It is hard, but I mean, we have a lot of fundraisers, a lot of fundraisers. I mean, if you're talking a Culver's night, we've got little Happy Ashley with her little kids are there with their, as a fundraiser, handing out food. We had, her little one at that point was probably 3 and taking trays, and we sell Express Mart cards. We did Super Bowl squares. Unfortunately, the money doesn't come out of my pocket. It does at some point, but it doesn't always come out of my pocket. It doesn't come out of the volunteers' pockets. We get money from different organizations, civic groups. Like I said, we get a grant once a year. Unfortunately, it's not quite enough to cover a whole year, but we're grateful for the grant that we do receive. And that is from the Jefferson Foundation down in Festus. And that is the only grant that we receive. Otherwise, it's just people like you, people like your director, people that listen to this podcast, hopefully.
And the people on social media who told me about both of you. You have made a very, very big impact. I can't tell you how many people kept saying, Brendan. I'm like, who's Brendan? What are we talking about?
Yes.
So a simple Google search of, I think I put in Brendan's backpacks. I connected with you pretty quickly. For people who are now inspired by both of you, how can they make a donation to you?
They can go to our Facebook page and see what our up and coming events are. Because like if we have food drives at Walmart, that's a big thing for us to have a food drive, because then nobody has to buy. I mean, you're already at Walmart.
Yes.
We're giving you a flyer that tells you to buy Pop-Tarts or buy breakfast bars or, buy whatever we need at the point in time. So, they're already there. That's the biggest thing. Nobody has to make a trip to the store or go on Amazon or go on Sam's and be like, okay, now I have to have this shipped. Where do I have it shipped to? Everything is right there it's either on our website, it's on our Facebook page. I'll tell you a story that I probably should have said earlier and didn't think about it until just then. After we packed backpacks one Tuesday, I went to the drive-thru to have lunch. And some guy came running up behind me, a young man, who's probably in his early 20s. And he said, because our trucks and vans are obviously labeled with Brendan's Friday backpacks and the phone number. And this guy said, young man said, oh my gosh, how can I give you money? He said, my brother and I got this when we were little. He was like, and it saved us so much. You were a lifesaver. And I mean, if that just doesn't make you want to cry, and the guy at the drive-thru is like, I didn't know what he was going to do. And I was like, I knew what he was going to do. I knew what he was going to do. So.
How does that make you feel?
It makes you feel very good. My heart feels warm. As the Grinch would say, my heart is melting, or my eyes are melting, or whatever the Grinch says. I started to put that on one of the Facebook posts, and I was like, that's probably stupid.
No, it's amazing. It is amazing.
It does warm your heart. It just makes you feel like I made a difference. Brendan made a difference.
Yes, and you continue to. And Brendan, when your mom told you that story after it happened, how did it make you feel?
It makes us feel like, okay, this is the point. This is the whole idea. Like, again, he wouldn't be this young man. I don't know how old he was. I wasn't there. Wouldn't have graduated, or his life would have been, who knows where his life would be. But now, thanks to this program, he's out of high school. I don't know this young man, obviously, but, he's out of high school. He's doing good for himself because he had that lifeline. Okay, now I don't have to worry about what am I going to eat this weekend? What am I going to eat when I get home?
I am so inspired by both of you, and I know you at home listening, whether you're in your car, at work, wherever you are, you're inspired by Brendan and Vicki as well. We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll have a little bit more with Brendan and Vicki as you watch Live with Laura. This has been a really special conversation on today's Live with Laura as I sit down with Vicki and Brendan Tamboli, the two people behind Brendan's Friday Backpacks. If you are just joining us, this endeavor started 15 years ago as an Eagle Scout project. Vicki, For parents and caretakers who are watching, who has a child that comes to them with a big idea, what advice do you have for them to listen to that big
Oh,
idea?
gosh. I would just say run with it. Listen to them. Go for it. That's exactly what we did, you know. We had a lot of no's before we got the yes, and we still have no's, and we still keep going. So just listen to your child.
And Brendan, what does it mean to you that your mom and your dad did go all in on your idea?
It means a lot. Obviously, I wouldn't be here today without them. Again, I grew up very, very fortunate to have a childhood, the great childhood. Not many of these kids have that great childhood. I work in early childhood latchkey myself, and the things that they are going through are a lot different than what I went through. And again, this program provides a lifeline for these kids that don't have, unfortunately, the childhood I grew up with. Because in a perfect world, everybody would have a great childhood. There'd be no food insecurities. Unfortunately, the world's not like that. And so this program is pretty much that lifeline for these kids.
I am just amazed at your level of empathy. And I think Brendan was born with a lot of it in the time I've been able to get to know you. But I think you instilled a lot of that in him too. How did you do that?
I think church and scouts raised him. I don't think I did anything. I really don't. I don't look back at myself and pat myself on the back and go, you did such a good job raising these kids. I don't feel that way. I don't know.
Well, Vicki, I'm here to tell you did a really good job.
Well, thank you.
Very good. Nonprofit leader, 2 others in the military. And Brendan, you also work at the YMCA as well?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do there?
I do before after school care latchkey. Mm-hmm. So and I was a camp counselor for 8 years as well. So I pretty much know kids, know how to deal with kids. It has its good days and its bad days, but you know, it's pretty much my calling, I guess, if you will.
And it's a great calling because anyone who ever went to a camp remembers the really cool camp counselors. And I have a feeling so many kids remember you.
Right.
What do you hope for the future of Brendan's Friday Backpacks?
I hope it keeps growing and going because, like I said before, it's a lifeline for these kids, and they would have absolutely nothing if, you know, this program didn't exist, and it didn't keep going, and it didn't keep growing, and the support from the audience wasn't there. So, I think we need to really keep this program going, and keep the donations coming, and follow us on our social media page and our Facebook, and yes, that's pretty, yeah.
So an easy way to make an impact for our listeners would be to pick up extra Pop-Tarts, breakfast bars, and then drop them off at your location.
There's other locations. There's plenty of drop-off locations. You can drop them off at the schools. That's all listed on the websites. There's a church in Arnold that somebody made an Eagle Scout made a box specifically for donations for Brendan's Friday Backpacks at their church.
How cool is that full circle that an Eagle Scout project, another one was born out of helping this?
Yes.
For people who maybe don't live near Jefferson County but still have a connection to it, do you take monetary donations?
We do. That is, I don't know if that's on our Facebook page. There should be a QR code. If not, it is on our website.
And what is the official website?
I think it's www.brendans, BRENDENS, Fridays Backpacks with an S, .org.
.org.
Just Google Brendan's Friday backpacks and you'll find it.
That's what I did.
Yes.
It was very easy to get
Yes,
in contact
it is very
with you.
easy.
I mentioned this to Brendan about the future. I want to move to you, Vicki. Years from now, when you look back on what your son created and you very much helped immensely, what do you want to think about?
Just what an amazing child he was. What an amazing person he is. I mean, he's still there every Tuesday. He still loads people's cars. He still packs bags. He still delivers bags to the schools, as well as my husband. Poor guy.
You've mentioned your church. What church is it?
It's Rock Presbyterian.
And it sounds like a really good group of people over there who have gone all in on this project too. What
Yes.
is that in Festus as well?
That's an Imperial.
Imperial. Jefferson County is very connected, and it's amazing what you guys are doing.
We appreciate you helping us, and we appreciate you having us.
Any parting words for our listeners?
Keep the donations coming. This
Yes.
program's not stopping for as long as I'm here, and hopefully it doesn't stop past that. So keep the donations coming. We appreciate the support from obviously you for having us, from the audience, from those on social media that that support what we do, and keep the support going.
And also, when you recognize a need, I'm guessing don't turn your back on it. Go all in and figure out how you can make things better.
Right. We have a program called a Backpack Buddy, where you donate $25 a month. That feeds like one child per month. Be a backpack buddy. I mean, $25 coming out of your checking account every month, you're never going to notice $25.
But it's going to make a world
But it makes a
of
big difference
to
for
that
us.
buddy.
You know, and that's what it's called. It's called a backpack buddy. We don't have many people that do it, but I keep telling people $25, just I have every month, all my bills come out of my checking account. And you're not going to notice $25 coming or going.
Be a backpack buddy for Brendan's Friday Backpacks. Vicki and Brendan, what a treat to meet both of you. Thank you for being so open with your story and keep doing amazing things. You are
Thank you
making
so
a
much for having
huge
us.
impact. This has been a treat for me, and I know our listeners feel the same way. So friends, please keep sending your ideas for who we should have in these seats. I would have never met Vicki or Brendan without you, and I am so thankful that you gave me their suggestions. So friends at home, until next time, thank you for listening, thank you for learning, and thank you for being live with Laura.